Talms of the Judah and Chumazit Ahotenide, the Talms of the Judah and Chumazit Ahotenide. So note se massi dutsene zene konene hakone o dutsene jo naja etits en ekuni viet ase hotia jo datene gwagala ki darasene zikwa go oni de massia. Senezu a joshit agot isi senezu go lakene va got senezu udat a jona hechak neko a kedinatse go givtsira senezu jona gala gita. Amek ave kone jaki indisi se hotia jo go zahoti. Senotse se massi dutsene zene konene hakone o se ajoasi mega massi niten a senezu dutsene nagalaita. Dutsene kanaja itikota kage chera se hotia josit anezu ni de massia. Se massi snotsi a joasi mea massi. A talmas at the Judah and Chumazit ahotenide. A talmas at the Judah and Chumazit ahotenide. A talmas at the Judah and Chumazit ahotenide. Massi.
Imagine supposed to have statements and doing something.
Members will begin with a performance from the Tetlikwichen dancers. Members, valued guests, members of the public, as Clerk of the Northwest Territories, it is my duty to advise the House that the Commissioner of the Northwest Territories, the Honourable Margaret Tom, is not prepared to enter the chamber until a Speaker has been elected. I will now open the floor for a motion to elect the Speaker. The member for Hay River North.
I move, seconded by the member for Yellowknife Centre, that Shane Thompson, the member for Nahende, take the chair as Speaker.
Motion? The question has been called. All those in favour? All those opposed? All those abstaining? The motion is carried. I would now ask that the member for Hay River North and the member for Yellowknife Centre, as our longest-serving MLAs, to please escort the member for Nahende to the chair.
So I guess I'm supposed to recognize former members that have been in the House here. I'd like to recognize my former colleague, Cabinet Minister, former Minister Policina from the Sawtoo, and my favorite MLA from Hay River South, presently, Mr. Rocky Simpson. So welcome to our chambers.
Okay, good. Thank you, members, for the trust you have afforded me as your speaker. So far in our preliminary meetings as the 20th Assembly, I can tell this group is thoughtful, solution-oriented, and most of all, motivated to make this territories the best it can be. It will be my honor to serve as Speaker for the 20th Assembly of the Northwest Territories. I want those watching to know that while the most well-known role of Speaker is to uphold the rules and decorum of the House, there is a lot more going on behind the scenes. As Speaker, I will also chair the Board of Management, which makes decisions and policies for the Legislative Assembly. I will also be responsible for educating residents about what it is that we do here, and I'm energized to do this because I believe in this institution. And most importantly, I will continue to advocate for my constituents back home. My priority will always be the needs of my constituents. It is where I come from, it is my home, and I will make sure their needs are met. Colleagues, I promise to do everything in my power to be a speaker that enables in-depth debate of ideas and legislation, a speaker that enforces the rules that allow us to exercise our freedom of speech while respecting privilege, order, and decorum, and a speaker that carries myself with the same tact and respect that I expect from each of us in the chamber. As you notice today, we are starting a new generation of doing things differently. We started out with a prayer using our traditional language, and this will be continued every day of our session. I will be talking to each member to see if we have elders that we would like to bring in to come in and do opening prayer to make this a more inclusive assembly for people in this House. Mr. Clerk, would you please ascertain if the Commissioner of the Northwest Territories, the Honourable Margaret Tom, is prepared to enter the chamber and open the first session of the 20th Legislative Assembly.
Please be seated. John.
I'd like to say thank you for seeing everybody with all my heart. There are a lot of people that live in here in the Northwest Territories that I'm working on behalf of and representing. So that I'd like to say thank you to each one of you.
It is once again an honor for me to be in this great house, and I'm pleased to welcome each and every one of you to the first session of the 20th Assembly of the Northwest Territories. I wish to acknowledge that the land on which we gather are treaty lands and the home to many indigenous people, including the Dene, the N.W.T, Métis, and Inuit. We are grateful to be on this great land. I begin by extending my sincere congratulations to the returning members, 3 of whom were acclaimed. By being acclaimed or re-elected, it shows that your constituents have great confidence in you, and they know you will continue to serve them to the best of your abilities. I also extend congratulations to the newly elected members of this Legislative Assembly and welcome you to our consensus form of government. We must also take time to extend sincere thanks to the past members who have served their constituents and our territory in this House. We thank them for their hard work and contributions to the betterment of the quality of life for residents of the Northwest Territories. I know they are making plans to enjoy much needed time with their families and friends. To all those who ran and were not elected, please know that your desire to serve the people of the Northwest Territories is greatly appreciated. I encourage you to continue to find ways to work for the benefit of all N.W.T residents. I would like
Gallery Mercy no listeners in channel N.W.T ano TV at inonik insi Mercy no listeners Kujantesin gallery no teno no tsano no skeno no tsenitan leo ay the Mercy hated lo hata no tsatarni car hata nanta amali style see
out the important work that you will do for the people of our territory. At this time, I would like to extend my sincere congratulations to the new Premier, Mr. R.J. Simpson, and his newly elected cabinet, Ms. Lucy Kuptana, Ms. Lisa Selmer, Mr. J. McDonald, Mr. Vince McKay, Ms. Caitlin Cleveland, and Ms. Caroline Wozenek. I would like to congratulate Mr. Shane Thompson on his acclamation as Speaker. The members of this Legislative Assembly will be well served by the fair, good judgment, and experience you bring to this vital position. I wish you the very best and have every confidence that you will be successful in your role as Speaker. Masicho. As members of this Legislative Assembly and of this House, you will be faced with many challenges during the next 4 years. Therefore, it is very important that you maintain a healthy balance in your life between work and family. Mental health is of the utmost importance. You will need to weigh your time, family, commitments, and important work that you will be involved in. Take care of your physical, spiritual, emotional, and mental health so that you can carry out your duties as members of this Legislative Assembly. My good wishes are extended to each and every one of you, and I'm confident that you will serve your constituents and the people of the Northwest Territories with fairness and to the very best of your abilities. As our elders say, deliberate respectfully, be attentive, and listen to each other and to your constituents. Share information and your knowledge so that you can make wise decisions. Mr. Speaker, before declaring open this first session of the 20th Legislative Assembly, I would like to invite all members and visitors in a public gallery to a reception in the Great Hall after the swearing-in of the Executive Council, which will take place at 3 p.m. this afternoon. As we approach this blessed festive season, I encourage you all to spend quality, meaningful, and joyful time with your family and friends. Participate and enjoy all the festivities in your constituency, as I'm sure your presence will be welcome and appreciated. From the Office of the Northwest Territories Commissioner and on behalf of my family, I extend to you a very merry and safe Christmas. Safe travels as you journey home to your loved ones. As Commissioner of the Northwest Territories, I now declare open the first session of the 20th Legislative Assembly of the Northwest Territories. Thank you. Merci beaucoup. Merci cho. Kwanani. Kwana. Merci.
Thank you, members. We will now continue with the orders for the day. Item number 3, member statements. Okay. Member statements. Member statements. Recognition of visitors. Oh, member statements. You're too slow. Member from Hay River South. Member from Hay River South.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. December 5th is recognized as International Volunteers Day. I express my gratitude to all the volunteers of the Northwest Territories. However, today I wish to take a moment to appreciate and extend our thanks to the emergency services across the region. A significant number of our fire departments in the Northwest Territories rely on volunteers who respond to local emergencies in a moment's notice. Whether facing 30-degree temperatures, minus 30, plus 30, or dealing with emergencies of a variety of severity, these community members willingly volunteer to answer the call of duty. It is imperative that our government to acknowledge these individuals formally at some point and not rely solely on the word of mouth. Over the past weekend, I attended the 65th Annual Firefighters Ball in Hay River, the longest running annual event in the community. This event serves as an opportunity to recognize the efforts of the local fire department and ambulance service. This year was particularly unique with the events of the past year, and it was shared with approximately 30 Alberta structural firefighters and representatives from the Yellowknife Airport Fire Department. These individuals at a moment's notice came to Hay River in aid to assist in the wildland firefight, contributing significantly to saving the community. They were duly recognized and appreciated for their commendable work. Another exceptional moment was a recognition of one individual with over 40 years of service. Ross Potter, having served as a firefighter, a retired full-time chief, he continues to serve as a volunteer firefighter. Ross has played a pivotal role in the development of the training of the Hay River Fire Department and has been involved in training with local communities throughout the Northwest Territories. His dedication has earned him the title of Firefighter of the Year in Hay River, which he last earned in 1984. On behalf of myself, I extend heartfelt congratulations to Ross and express the gratitude for his service and dedication to the Northwest Territories. And I would also like to take this time to thank all our emergency services throughout the N.W.T. who protect us. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Member Hay River South. Member from Tabacha.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Today I would like to thank the constituents of Tabacha. I want to express my heartfelt gratitude to each one of you for your trust and support in electing me to be a representative in the 20th Assembly. This journey has been made possible through the dedication and the hard work of my incredible election team, whose commitment has been unwavering. To my esteemed colleagues of the 20th Assembly, your trust and support mean the world to me. I am honored and humbled to serve alongside each dedicated individual in this Assembly. To my beloved family, my wife Karen, my children JC, Sean, and Kurt, your unwavering support has been my anchor, and I thank you for standing by me on this journey. I'm excited about the opportunity to contribute to our territory's well-being, and particularly to working with all of the members of this House. With your commitment and support, I am eager to work collaboratively with all members, the Indigenous and municipal governments of the Northwest Territories, and all of its residents, to bring positive change and progress not only to Tabacha, but the whole N.W.T. Thank you all, and season's greetings, Masicho.
Thank you, Member from Tabacha. Member from the Sawtoo.
Mr. Speaker, I too would like to acknowledge the voting outcome of November the 14th and respectfully thank the voters in putting their trust in me from the Sawtoo region, and also thank the members of the House here on their voting outcomes of yesterday. And in closing, I wish everybody a safe holiday season with their families and safe travels to wherever your destinations may take you, and also recognizing the staff of the House and the people in the gallery. Safe holidays. Masicho.
Thank you, Member from the Sawtoo. The Member from Mofway.
Mr. Speaker, I would like to start by saying congratulations to our new Premier-elect and Executive Council-elected members. I look forward to working with you all to advance our common interests and making changes to improve the lives of N.W.T residents, especially those in small communities. We have to remember them. As we get to business in the 20th Assembly and establish the budget for upcoming fiscal year, I want to make sure we take steps to establish a new administration region for the Clecho. Over the past few years, I have raised this concern several times in the House. The Clecho Land Claims and Self-Government Agreement was signed in 2003 by representatives of the Doggerib Treaty 11 Council and the Government of the Northwest Territories and Government of Canada. The GNWT recognizes that Clecho are distinct. We have distinct language, culture, and way of life. Through the Clecho Agreement, the Clecho gained the tools and resources to strengthen our economy and protect and promote Clecho culture, language, heritage, lands, and resources. Currently, the Clecho Community Services Agency delivers a number of programs and services, including those from the Government of the Northwest Territories. As more self-government agreements are signed and Indigenous government draw down jurisdiction for programs and services, the Government of the Northwest Territories need to adapt and reevaluate the current administrative region. Creating a separate region would allow us to make better decisions on behalf of Clecho people and more authority to support Clecho people's needs, especially during times of emergency. During the wildfire emergencies over 2023, it took days before the GNWT had a meaningful discussions with this region and its leaders. We need to move away from centralized decision-making structures that fail to consider the needs of residents outside of Yellowknife. Mr. Speaker, I seek unanimous consent to conclude my statement.
The member from Moofy is asking for her consent to conclude her statement. Any nays? Go ahead, member from Moofy.
Mr. Speaker, the development of a Clecho administrative region aligns with the spirit of the N.W.T's United Nations Declarations on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples Implementation Act. Quote, "The Government of the Northwest Territories is committed to taking effective measures, including legislative policy and administrative measures in collaborations and cooperations with Indigenous people to achieve the objectives of the declaration," end quote. To better serve Clecho residents, I'm just concluding.
I'll give you 30 extra seconds, please. Thank you, Ms. Moofy. Thank you. Member from Range Lake.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to start our first sitting, at least from my point of view, with some good vibes. I think we all had a long day yesterday, but it's great to see we have a new executive council in place and regular members who are finding their roles to provide accountability and oversight for the next 4 years of government. And I want to congratulate the Premier-elect and the Cabinet-elect. I'd also like to thank my constituents. It's a joy to be back in the Legislative Assembly, speaking for my friends, my family, and my neighbors in my neighborhood, and being able to be a strong voice for Range Lake after a period of time when they were sitting at the cabinet table, I think is going to allow us to raise some issues that are important to my constituents and put some much needed attention on areas that need to be addressed. But I do think the collaborative spirit here is strong. I think this Assembly is still on track to move mountains and address the challenges we have again with hope, hard work, and a spirit of collaboration and friendship. And I very much look forward to getting to work. And now that we've put the elections out of our way, our last round of elections for a while, I hope, we can start that process of getting to work. I'd also like to thank my family, my wife Colleen, my children Corbin, Eve, and Leander. They were here with me every step of the way on the campaign trail. They were attending in the gallery during the last speeches that were made and the elections that were had, and I would not be here without them. And what I do is for my kids and for all of our kids, and it's a constant reminder of who I serve and why I'm in this place. So with that, I will say, because we're not sitting again until after the holidays, I'll say happy holidays to my constituents, to all of you, and I hope you have time with your loved ones over the break. Thank you.
Thank you, member from Range Lake. Member from N.W.T.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I'd like to echo my colleagues' comments here. There's a lot of hope in this assembly, and we're all willing to work together and work hard and lead. I just want to offer my appreciation to the constituents of N.W.T for electing me. And like I've told them before, I'm willing to work and work hard for them, recognizing all the challenges we have, especially in the vast and remote riding that is N.W.T. Many of us are going through the holiday season and going into this thinking of Christmas and spending time with our family. But I also want to offer condolences to the family, the Chixie family, the Kasuk family in Tuktoyaktuk, the Kaudluk family in Ulahaktuk, and also the Taylor family who are experiencing a loss right now. And I want to express my condolences to them. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, member from member from the Decho.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I would like to thank all my constituents. I'm honored and humbled to be here to serve all my constituents and all my riding of the Decho. I would like to thank my family, especially my husband Norman and my children for supporting me, as well as my sisters. I have six sisters, and they all supported me, and my brother, and all the constituents. I would like to congratulate the Premier-elect and all the members of the Cabinet. I wish them all the success in their new roles. I look forward to working with each and every one of you. And I also want to wish my constituents a Merry Christmas. May you enjoy a safe and happy holiday with your family. I look forward to seeing you all in the new year and getting to business. Masicho.
Thank you, member from the Decho. Member from Frame Lake.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. First of all, congratulations to our new Premier-elect and to our new Cabinet. I'm very excited to work and collaborate with you. Frame Lake, thank you from the bottom of my heart for putting your trust in me. I am deeply humbled by the election result and promise you I am going to put everything I possibly can into working to represent you, your best interests, and those of the territory. This is not something I take lightly in the slightest, and the importance of staying grounded and focused on constituency work is something I am strongly committed to. I want to thank everyone who took time out of their days and evenings to speak with me at the doors, send me messages, and share deeply personal stories about what is important to you and what you want your MLA to achieve. Thank you to the other candidates who put their names forward. It was a great campaign, and I appreciated how respectful the tone of things stayed while we debated and fought to be the voice for this riding. Thank you also to all the volunteers who helped me behind the scenes, to those who donated to my campaign, and everyone who voiced their support. I couldn't have done it without your help. And an extra special thank you to my beloved partner, Rihanna, who has been my rock and brought so much peace into my life during the most intense and all-consuming thing I have ever done. And I would like to pay special tribute to my trusty dog, Jake, who stayed by my side for 13 of the best years of my life and passed away the day after the election. I will deeply miss you, my friend. Again, thank you so much. I love this territory, and care so much about this work, I can't possibly help but throw all of myself into it, as I have already been doing. I am looking forward to getting down to business. Thank you.
Thank you, member from Frame Lake. Member from Tune-a-Day-Welladay.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to say congratulations to you as Speaker. In the early days, we used to play hockey when we were young and good looking. Now we're just good looking. Also, I want to say congratulations to the newly elected Premier, R.J. Simpson, and Minister Wozniak, Minister Cleveland, Minister Kaptana, Minister Semler, and Minister McDonald. And I want to say congratulations to all my colleagues, MLAs. I look forward to working with you. I would like to thank all my constituents, my family, my friends, to represent you as the Tune-a-Day-Welladay MLA for the 20th Assembly. I will continue to work hard and then to advocate your issues to the newly elected Premier and Cabinet, and to work together to look for solutions. Again, I want to say small communities do matter, and I ask that we could work together to help address my own housing issues in my community, ice roads, capital infrastructure needs, and most importantly, I need money for doing housing inspections so that we can start working together to address these urgent housing issues in my community. Also, I wanted to recognize all the legislative staff that are here and also the translators. And I want to say seasoned greetings to everybody here and to our home communities, to everybody in the House. I want to say Mussy. I look forward to working with everybody. Mussy.
Thank you, member from Tune-a-Day-Welladay. Member from Great Slave.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm not sure how to follow up all of the great statements so far. I will probably repeat a lot of what has been said, but first and foremost, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for my constituents, for Great Slave, for placing your trust in me for the next 4 years. It's something that I take deeply to my heart, and I do not take lightly, as my colleague has said already. I would like to congratulate Premier-elect and Cabinet-elect. I know that you will do great things with integrity, and I'm very excited to work with you from this side of the House. I would like to thank the legislative staff as well. You have made us all feel extremely at home, and I'm not sure how we would have made it through the last few weeks without you. And finally, I'd like to thank some folks for my campaign, specifically Karen Wasichna and Jan Vallely. I love you and I consider you family. Thank you very much for your assistance. And finally, to my blood family, my parents, and my chosen family, my husband Eric. You've made this an experience that I will never forget. I wish all of my colleagues a very happy holidays and a safe journey home to be with your family and friends. And I look forward to getting to work with you very soon.
Member from Great Slave. Member from YK South.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I also have some thank yous I'd like to take the opportunity to share today. Firstly, this campaign period was, of course, delayed because of the wildfires and the evacuations, and I want to start by saying thank you to all of those who supported our efforts in responding to the wildfires, from the firefighters to those who stayed here in Yellowknife to support efforts in Yellowknife to protect the city, the IMO staff, city emergency staff, and so many public servants and volunteers all working together. So much was accomplished, and I'm very grateful for everything they did in keeping all of us and my residents and my constituents safe. I also do want to extend a great thanks to my neighbors, friends, and constituents here in Yellowknife South. Although I was acclaimed, it still is an opportunity for me to go door to door, to do the forums, to check in with people. And I know that many people had a very hard 4 years and a very hard summer in particular. It was difficult to come off of that for all of us. But I must say that the opportunity to check in with people and receive their response, their support, was tremendous. To hear their encouragement was very helpful, because politics can be a bit exhausting at times and very emotional, but it is done for the sake of those we represent. And so to have them give me their encouragement and support was something I am deeply grateful for, and I want to share that with them. So thank you to my constituents. I'm also wanting to take an opportunity to thank my campaign team. People perhaps don't realize that even when you're acclaimed, you do have to prepare for the campaign. You don't know you're getting acclaimed, and I had people standing ready behind me all the way through, and I'm very grateful to them. And last but not least, to thank you to my family, my parents, my spouse, my children, my chosen family here in Yellowknife. All of them give me such support and such joy. It makes doing this job easy. And with that, happy holidays to all those here, and safe travels to those who have to return home. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, member from Yellowknife South. Member from Cam Lake.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to start off by just reflecting on the words of hope and collaborative leadership, and also words of eagerness to get to work that we've heard here today from multiple colleagues. I share in that sentiment, and I'm glad that that sentiment continues today throughout our statements. I want to start off by thanking the residents of Cam Lake, who without their confidence I would not be standing here today, and I'm very grateful for their confidence in my ability to serve them for another 4 years. When we talk about serving our neighbors, our friends, and our family, Cam Lake is very much all of those things for me, and I can tell you there's nothing more difficult than literally knocking on your older brother's door during a campaign period, because if you want someone that's going to hold your feet to the fire pretty hard, it's going to be your older brother. So thank you to him for always holding me accountable. I'd also like to thank, at this point, my constituency assistant, Leslie Straker, who for the last 4 years has been absolutely dedicated with pride and joy and a ton of integrity to the people of Cam Lake in serving them for any of their needs and doing anything she can to make their lives even a little bit easier. So I have so much gratitude for the love that she brings to this job, and I thank her for that. I'd also like to extend my utmost gratitude for what I consider one of the greatest supports for my ability to do this job, and that is my support network, which is built up of my parents, my husband's parents, my in-laws, and also my friends who are able to pick up my children for me so that I can do this job and to make sure that they get to hockey practice and stuff like that. And so I have the utmost gratitude for people who continue to support all of us in the work that we do, because while this is of service to the people of the Northwest Territories, we rely on the people of the Northwest Territories to be able to do this job to the best of our ability. Mr. Speaker, I couldn't say any thank yous without then thanking my children, who are my biggest weakness and my greatest strength, and they are Jackson, Owen, and Dallin, and also their father, Jeffrey Bowden, who is joining us here today. And without him, I wouldn't have had the courage to do this job, and I wouldn't have had the courage to keep doing this job. So I thank him for his unwavering support and patience. And thank you, Mr. Speaker, for sitting there today.
Thank you, member from Cam Lake. Member from N.W.T. Lake.
Mr. Speaker, and first and foremost, thank you to the voters of N.W.T. Lake. Obviously, without you, I would not be here, and I certainly appreciate you putting your trust in me to come down here and work on your behalf. Congratulations to the Premier and new Cabinet. I look forward to working with you in the coming 4 years. Thank you to my team. Nobody can do this by themselves. Running a campaign, as we all know in this room, is very time-consuming. So for all my friends, my team, my official agent, Peter Clarkson, and so many, I wish I could name them all, that check in on my mental health, that do the little errands sometimes that you just don't get time to do, and continue to reach out and offer to do, to get my 17-year-old unstuck when he takes my car and runs it into a snowbank when I'm not there. So it's been amazing. The people of N.W.T. Lake, my friends, my family, it's just been incredible, and I thank them all very much. My children, Haley, Tyler, and Will, my wife, who's my rock, who's my sounding board, who keeps me grounded. Thank you so much, and I look forward again to working with you all in the coming 4 years. As we take our break, have a very Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and thank you very much.
Thank you, member from Nunavut Lake. Member from Mackenzie Delta.
Mr. Speaker, first of all, I'd like to thank the constituents of my riding, Mackenzie Delta, from Tsigichik, Fort McPherson, and Klavik. I'd like to thank them for giving me this opportunity to represent them in this 20th Assembly of the Northwest Territories. Furthermore, I'd like to congratulate the Premier-elect and the Cabinet-elect for a successful campaign, and I look forward to working with you for the duration of this Assembly. And I'd like to also congratulate my colleagues, the regular MLAs, who will be trying to keep the executive accountable to their tasks. And finally, to the residents of the Northwest Territories, I wish you all the best for this holiday season and best wishes for the New Year's. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you from the member from Mackenzie Delta, member from Nunavut Twin Lakes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and congratulations again. Congratulations to our Premier-elect and to all the executives that were elected and everybody that put their name forward. The one thing that I do believe is that every single speech that we heard yesterday, we all sit around this table, this room, wanting the best for the Northwest Territories. So I'm hopeful and I'm happy that we're all in this together. I'd like to thank my family who have always got my back, my husband and my two children, my constituents, because I wouldn't be here without them. And although I've been elected to the executive, that's not going to change how I've interacted and how my office can assist you. And so that's one thing that I just want to make sure that all of my constituents know, that they still will be represented. I'd also like to just thank all of the people that I had on my team as well. My official agent, Janelle Wainman, she has been my friend since she was born, because I'm older than her, so she is one of my very first friends, and she's always been that friend, and so I'm glad to have been able to have her for this election and last election by my side as my official agent, even though Denny tried to steal her. And to those elders that gave me advice along the way, not just in this election, through my past term. And even, you know, that's the thing is when you're raised by elders, and that's how we are in the communities. Doesn't matter how old we are, so I stand here. I had advice from a very strong elder yesterday, and I thank her for that. And I will take her advice, and I just want to make that known for her, because that's what we do as people. We listen, we take the information, and our elders know best, and you know, and that's how we are going to work together as 19 Assembly. So I want to thank you again, Mr. Speaker, and I look forward to the 20th Assembly working with you all.
Thank you, member from Twin Lakes, member from Yellowknife North.
I'm grateful to be here and to take on this role and embrace the challenge that we have before us. I want to thank, first of all, my constituents of Yellowknife North for opening their doors to me on countless cold November days and sharing with me so many of their hopes and their fears and their frustrations, especially after what has been a very tough year for many. I truly learned so much, and even though I came in with my platform and my ideas, through those conversations I truly did learn and grow and shift and keep writing and keep changing some of my perspectives as I went along, and I hope to continue to do that throughout the life of this Assembly. I want to thank my campaign team, for supporting me literally every step of the way, walking to all those doors with me, and challenging me when I needed to be challenged. And I also especially want to thank my partner, Eric, who has never failed to bring out the best in me, keep reminding me who I am and what I need to do to be the best that I can. I want to congratulate our new Premier and our new Executive Council. I have full confidence that we're on a good track. And I finally just want to wish everyone a happy new year and hope that 2024 will be a fresh start. I know there's many things that many of us want to leave behind in 2023. And so may 2024 bring all of us love and support from our family, our friends and community members, and our colleagues. May 2024 bring all of us safe and warm homes, good health. May it bring us clean air, clean water, healthy land. May it bring us successful harvest and hopefully a good berry year. May it bring us safe travels, and may 2024 bring us joy and peace in our hearts. Merci. Thank you.
Thank you, member from Yellowknife North. Member from Yellowknife Centre.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Before I begin, I wish to acknowledge you as our incoming Speaker. And I also wish to take the opportunity to acknowledge the Premier and the incoming Cabinet. We have a lot of hopes and ambition for the 20th Assembly. I believe our trust is well placed, and I look forward to seeing how it rolls out. That said, I did want it officially on the record, Mr. Speaker, that no one could ever say I didn't say anything nice about this new Cabinet and leadership, so I truly do deeply wish them well. Mr. Speaker, my comments will be today specifically about addictions and aftercare. The North is unfairly and disproportionately plagued with addictions, be it alcohol or drug problems. It is plaguing our families. It's taking the souls of our loved ones. Some may say they're lost. Frankly, we know where they are, and many of them are in the ditches of emotion. They're trapped in these cycles and terribly in these spins of destruction. We must find a way to help and support them. There's been numerous calls about addictions, treatment programs. I have been one of those echoes for years. I believe that we need to move forward. We've heard countless calls from regions wanting to see regional programs in our communities. Indigenous governments want us to support them on these regional programs, and whether they're treatment programs or on-the-land programs, we must do what we've been called to do, which is to help save and serve our people. Mr. Speaker, we must not give up. And frankly, I will not give up on this issue until we find some more action. Now, someone will always say we don't have any money for that, and that may be a fact, but we should be finding money because we need to be making smarter choices. I'm prepared to give up 1 kilometer of highway or 2 kilometers of highway or whatever it takes to make a better choice by saving people and making sure they're healthy. But if we don't have the addictions aftercare, some of it, not all of it, is for naught. And to me, it would be a misstep to go halfway. You need to follow through on the whole process by helping people, by providing an opportunity, again, programs and aftercare, whether it's on the land or certainly the right support system so we can complete the package. And lastly, Mr. Speaker, I wish to thank the constituents of Yellowknife Centre. I wish to thank my wife, her wise counsel constantly, my children, and all the people, including my new family here in the Assembly. I have no doubt that we will be working hard and well for each of us and our communities and our regions for better people of the North. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, member from Yellowknife Centre. Member statements. Member from Hay River North.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I also want to take a moment to thank my constituents and the people of Hay River. You know, we've had a tough few years in Hay River. It's almost surreal when you think about what has happened. And you know, even though I'm in a new role now, I want my constituents to know that I will continue to work to address the issues that we're facing now and to prepare so that we don't have to face those issues again in the future. So that work will continue, and that's my commitment, Mr. Speaker. I want to thank my family for the support they've given me, and I want to thank everyone's family here, actually. I don't think people realize the toll it takes on a family when you run for office and when you're in office, and so they carry a lot of that weight, and I think they deserve, that deserves to be acknowledged. I also want to congratulate all of the members elected to the Executive Council and all of the new members, all of the re-elected members. You know, this is quite an adventure that we're all embarking on, and I know we're all looking forward to it. And finally, Mr. Speaker, I want to thank you for stepping up and putting your name forward. This role is so important. The role of Speaker is so important. I've already seen the changes that you've implemented. We're only a few minutes into our first sitting here. And after working with you for the last 4 years, I know your values, I know your work ethic, and I know that the House is in good hands, and I appreciate that. So thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
Thank you, member from Hay River North. Member statements. Member statements. Recognition of visitors in the gallery. Great. Member from Great Slave.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I would like to recognize my good friend and previous Director of Cabinet Communications, Mr. Sean Dean. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you, member from Great Slave. Member from YK Center.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I too wish to acknowledge a constituent, Mr. Sean Dean. Thank you to the member for Great Slave for acknowledging him as well. Many people know and some do not know he has served many assembly quite loyally for many years. I wouldn't quite go generations, but I would certainly say he's been an important fixture of the assembly, and that should never go unacknowledged, his hard work and dedication. And he recently retired only a couple of years ago. Frankly, I never thought he would retire, but that's it. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and thank you, Mr. Dean. Thank you.
Thank you, member from Yellowknife Center. Member from YK Center. South, sorry.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to acknowledge my parents, Ed and Bev Wozniak, are in the gallery here today to actually watch what the assembly looks like. Thank you for coming. And Mr. Speaker, I have one more acknowledgement. I don't see my young page in the room right now, but I know he's around. Ben Mauger is a resident of Yellowknife South. We are always very grateful to have the pages here with us. Thank you.
Thank you, member from YK South. Member from Tabacha.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I'd like to recognize Helena Katz, a constituent from Tabacha. Helena was the initiator of a petition that launched calling for the independent public inquiry into the Hay River, Kakiza, and Enterprise wildfires and evacuation and how they were managed. So welcome, Helena.
Thank you, member from Tabacha. Member from Hay River South.
Speaker, I'd like to recognize a couple residents of my riding and former member for Hay River South, Rocky Simpson, and his wife, Betty Lyons.
Thank you, member from Hay River South. Member from Cam Lake.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I would like to acknowledge a page that we have working here with us today as well. We have Cam Lake resident Leah Yaklaya Grimslowski here with us today, and thank you so much to the pages who have joined us.
Thank you. Member from Cam Lake. Member from Tuna Day Welladay.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I'd like to recognize Rocky Sr. and his wife Betty Lyons. And also want to recognize William Greenland. He's also in the healing and trauma field. I want to say welcome.
Thank you. Member from Tuna Day Welladay. Member from Yellowknife North.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I would like to recognize 3 pages that are Yellowknife North constituents that are here today. We have Kaya Wickens from Sir John Franklin High School, Liam Kincaid from St. Pat's High School, and Zachary Mandeville from St. Pat's High School. Thanks for your work.
Thank you. Member from Yellowknife North. Recognition of visitors in the gallery. Recognition of visitors in the gallery. Everyone else in the gallery with us here today, thank you for joining us. It is our pleasure to have visitors on our first day of session. Thank you. Acknowledgements. Acknowledgements. Table of documents. Member for Great Slave.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I wish to table correspondence dated December 5th, 2023, and a sample resolution from the Yellowknife citizens for ceasefire to the members of the Northwest Territories Legislative Assembly. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, member from Great Slave. Pursuant to Section 68 of the Access to Information and Protection of the Privacy Act, I wish to table the Office of the Northwest Territories Information and Privacy Commissioner 2022-2023 Annual Report. And I wish to table the Code of Conduct signed by the members of the 20th Legislative Assembly. Oh, sorry. Member from Great Slave, I went a little too fast. Sorry about that.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Quite all right. Mr. Speaker, I wish to table a presentation by the Yellowknife Citizens for Ceasefire to Yellowknife City Council. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Member from Great Slave. Table the documents. Table in the documents. Notice of motion. Member from Range Lake.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I give notice that on Tuesday, December 12th, 2023, I will move the following motion. Now, therefore, I move, seconded by the Honourable Member for Yellowknife South, that the member for Hay River North, the Honourable R.J. Simpson, is hereby chosen to be Premier of the Northwest Territories. And, Mr. Speaker, at the appropriate time, I will be seeking unanimous consent to deal with this motion today. Thank you, Mr.
Thank you, Member Range Lake. Notice of motions. Member from Decho.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I give notice that on Tuesday, December 12, 2023, I will move the following motion. Now, therefore, I move and seconded by the Honourable Member for Frame Lake that this Assembly recommend to the Commissioner of the Northwest Territories that the following members be appointed to the Executive Council. Mr. R.J. Simpson, the member for Hay River North. Mr. Vince McKay, the member for Hay River South. Ms. Lisa Semler, the member for Inuvik Twin Lakes. Ms. Caitlin Cleveland, member for Cam Lake. Ms. Lucy Captana, the member for Nanukpot. Mr. J. McDonald, the member for Thabacha. And Ms. Carolyn Wozniak, the member for Yellowknife South. And, Mr. Speaker, at the appropriate time, I will be seeking unanimous consent to deal with this motion today. Thank you.
The Decho. Member from Frame Lake.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I give notice that on Tuesday, December 12th, 2023, I will move the following motion. Now, therefore, I move, seconded by the Honourable Member for Great Slave, that the following members be appointed to the Standing Committee on Accountability and Oversight. Ms. Cheryl Yakalaya, the member for Decho. Mr. Julian Morse, the member for Frame Lake. Ms. Kate Reed, the member for Great Slave. Mr. Denny Rogers, the member for Inuvik Boot Lake. Mr. George Narasu, the member for Mackenzie Delta. Ms. Jane Whalon Armstrong, the member for Montfouille. Mr. Kieran Testart, the member for Range Lake. Mr. Danny McNeely, the member for Sawtoo. Mr. Richard Ajericon, the member for Tunaday-Willaday. Mr. Robert Hawkins, the member for Yellowknife Centre, and Ms. Shauna Morgan, the member for Yellowknife North. And, Mr. Speaker, at the appropriate time, I will be seeking unanimous consent to deal with this motion today.
Member from Frame Lake. Notice of motions. Notice of motions. Oh. Member from Great Slave.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I give notice that on Tuesday... No? On Tuesday, December 12th, 2023, I will move the following motion. Now, therefore, I move, seconded by the Honourable Member for Hay River South, that the following members be appointed to the Board of Management of this Assembly. The Honourable Shane Thompson, member for Nahende. Mr. Richard Ajericon, member for Tunaday-Willaday. Mr. Robert Hawkins, member for Yellowknife Centre. And the Honourable Caitlin Cleveland, member for Cam Lake. And further, that the following members be appointed to the Board of Management as alternate members. Ms. Kate Reed, member for Great Slave. Ms. Yakalaya, member for Decho. The Honourable J. McDonald, member for Thabacha. And the Honourable Vince McKay, member for Hay River South. And, Mr. Speaker, at the appropriate time, I will be seeking unanimous consent to deal with this motion today.
Thank you. Member from Great Slave. Notice of motions. Notice of motions. Which one? Okay. Member from Hay River South.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I give notice that on Tuesday, December 12th, 2023, I will move the following motion. I move, second by the Honourable Member of Nunavut-Boot Lake, that notwithstanding Rule 4, when this House adjourns on December 8th, 2023, it shall be adjourned until Tuesday, February 6, 2024. And further, that any time prior to February 6, 2024, if the Speaker is satisfied, after consultation with the Executive Council and members of the Legislative Assembly, that the public interest requires that the House should meet at an earlier time during the adjournment, the Speaker may give notice. Thereupon, the House shall meet at the stated time in such notice, and it shall transact its business as it has been duly adjourned to at that time. And Mr. Speaker, at the appropriate time, I will be seeking unanimous consent to deal with the motion today.
Motions. Sorry, that I went a little too quick. That was notice of motions. Notice of motions. Motions. Member from Great Slave.
We'll all get there together, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I seek unanimous consent to deal with the motion I gave notice to earlier today. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, member from Range Lake. Colleagues, the member from Range Lake is seeking unanimous consent to deal with this motion today. Are there any nays? There are no nays. You may deal with this motion today.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, now therefore I move, seconded by the Honourable Member for Yellowknife South, that the member for Hay River North, the Honourable R.J. Simpson, is hereby chosen to be Premier of the Northwest Territories. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
To the motion. Question has been called. All those in favor? All those opposed? The motion is carried. Motions? Motions? Okay. Member for the Decho.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Whereas Section 6.1-1 of the Legislative Assembly, Council of the Northwest Territories, and whereas members of the Executive Council are appointed by the Commissioner on the recommendation of the Legislative Assembly, now therefore I move, second by the Honourable Member of Frame Lake, that this Assembly recommends to the Commissioner of the Northwest Territories that the following members be appointed to the Executive Council. Mr. R.J. Simpson, the member for Hay River North. Mr. Vince McKay, the member for Hay River South. Ms. Lisa Semler, member for Nunavut-Twin Lakes. Ms. Caitlin Cleveland, the member for Cam Lake. Ms. Lucy Kaptana, the member for Nunavut. Mr. J. McDonald, the member for Thabacha. And Ms. Caroline Wozniak, the member for Yellowknife South. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Are there any nays? There are no nays. You may deal with this motion today. Sure. Okay. The member from the Decho has already read the motion, so I thank you for that motion. So in regards to the motion. Question has been called. All those in favor? All those opposed? The motion is carried. Member from Frame Lake.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I seek unanimous consent to deal with the motion I gave notice of earlier today.
Thank you. Member from Range Lake. Colleagues, the member from Frame Lake is seeking unanimous consent to deal with this motion today. Are there any nays? There are no nays. You may deal with this motion today.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Whereas Rule 89 Sub 2 requires that members be appointed to the Standing Committee on Accountability and Oversight, now therefore I move, seconded by the Honourable Member for Great Slave, that the following members be appointed to the Standing Committee on Accountability and Oversight. Ms. Cheryl Yakalaya, the member for Decho. Mr. Julian Morse, the member for Frame Lake. Ms. Kate Reed, the member for Great Slave. Mr. Denny Rogers, the member for Inuvik-Boot Lake. Mr. George Narasu, the member for Montfouille. Ms. Jane Whalon Armstrong. I'm sorry, I'm sorry, this is how the motion was written. I'm reading it as written. I'm going to correct. Mr. George Narasu, the member for Mackenzie Delta, with my apologies, Mr. Narasu. Ms. Jane Whalon Armstrong, the member for Montfouille. Mr. Kieran Testart, the member for Range Lake. Mr. Danny McNeely, the member for Saw-2. Mr. Richard Ajericon, the member for Tunaday-Willaday. Mr. Robert Hawkins, the member for Yellowknife Centre. And Ms. Shauna Morgan, the member for Yellowknife North.
Member for Frame Lake? No. What? Oh, to the motion. Question has been called. All those in favor? All those opposed? The motion is carried. Motions. Member from Great Slave.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I seek unanimous consent to deal with the motion I gave notice of earlier today.
Colleagues, the member for Great Slave is seeking unanimous consent to deal with this motion today. Are there any nays? There are no nays. You may deal with this motion today.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Whereas this Legislative Assembly is required to appoint members to the Board of Management in accordance with Section 36 of the Legislative Assembly and Executive Council Act, and whereas appointments to the Board of Management are required to be made during the first sitting after a general election, now therefore I move, seconded by the Honourable Member for Hay River South, that the following members be appointed to the Board of Management of this Assembly. The Honourable Shane Thompson, Member for Nahende. Mr. Richard Ajericon, Member for Tunaday-Willaday. Mr. Robert Hawkins, Member for Yellowknife Centre, and the Honourable Caitlin Cleveland, Member for Cam Lake. And further, that the following members be appointed to the Board of Management as alternate members. Ms. Kate Reed, Member for Great Slave. Ms. Yakalaya, Member for Decho. The Honourable Jay McDonald, Member for Thabacha, and the Honourable Vince McKay, Member for Hay River South.
To the motion. Question has been called. All those in favor? All those opposed? The motion is carried. Member from Hay River South.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I seek unanimous consent to deal with the motion I gave notice of earlier today.
Colleagues, the member from Hay River South is seeking unanimous consent to deal with this motion today. Are there any nays? There are no nays. You may deal with this motion today.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move, second by the Honourable Member for Inuvik-Boot Lake, that notwithstanding Rule 4, when this House adjourns on December 8, 2023, it shall be adjourned until Tuesday, February 6, 2024. And further, that at any time prior to February 6, 2024, if the Speaker is satisfied, after consultation with the Executive Council and members of the Legislative Assembly, that the public interest requires that the House should be at an earlier time during the adjournment, the Speaker may give notice, and thereupon the House shall meet at the time stated in such notice and shall transact its business as it has been accordingly adjourned to that time.
Motion. The question has been called. All those in favor? All those opposed? The motion is carried. So what do we do here? First reading of bills. First reading of bills. Second reading of bills. Second reading of bills. Mr. Clerk, orders of the day.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Orders of the day for Tuesday, February 6, 2024 at 1:30 p.m. Prayer, minister statements, member statements, recognition of visitors in the gallery, reports of committees on the review of bills, reports of standing and special committees, returns to oral questions, acknowledgements, oral questions, returns to written questions, replies to the Commissioner's address, petitions, tabling of documents, notices of motion, motions, notices of motion for first reading of bills, first reading of bills, second reading of bills, consideration in Committee of the Whole of bills and other matters, report of Committee of the Whole, third reading of bills, orders of the day. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. This House stands adjourned until Tuesday, February 6, 2024 at 1:30 p.m.
Order!